All right, so now let's look at multiplying polynomials. Again, we have done this before already, so we're just going to do a quick recap, starting with example 3a, where it wants us to multiply x squared plus 2x minus 1 times 4x minus 3. So if you remember the way we were doing this, because we used the same idea when we were factoring quadratics before, we would look at how many terms were in the first and the second. So in this I have a 3 by a 2. So I'm going to make a grid that's 3 by 2 and put one term above each. And then I'm going to multiply. So I'm going to do 4x times x squared is going to give me 4x to the third. 4x times 2x gives me 8x squared. And negative 1 times 4x gives me negative 4x. Moving down, I've got negative 3 times the x squared gives me negative 3x squared. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. And negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. So now whatever's inside of this box, I'm going to combine the like terms. So I've got 4x cubed. I'm going to add the 8x squared plus negative 3x squared, so it's going to give me plus 5x squared. Negative 4x plus negative 6x is negative 10x, and then plus 3. All right, I'd like you to try part B. All right, once you've done part B, now we're going to look at what do I do when I want to multiply three things together. So now I want to multiply x plus 3, x minus 1, and x plus 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm essentially going to do that grid method twice. I'm going to first multiply these two together, and then whatever result I get from that, multiply by the x plus 5. So I'm going to make a 2 by 2 box for this first one because it's 2 terms by 2 terms. So what were they? They were x plus 3 and x minus 1, and then whatever I get from this, I'm going to multiply by the x plus 5. Alright, so x times x gives me x squared. X times 3 is 3x. Negative x minus 3. So then all together I have x squared plus 2x minus 3. And now I'm going to multiply that by the x plus 5. So now I'm back to having a 3 by 2. I've got x squared, 2x minus 3, x plus 5. So that gives me x cubed, a 2x squared, a negative 3x, a 5x squared, a 10x, and a negative 15. So now again, we combine all the like terms inside. So I've got x to the third plus 7x squared plus 7x minus 15 altogether. All right, I'd like you to try part B. All right, and then after this part B here, we have this box here that talks about special product patterns. And you can go ahead and memorize those if you would like. I personally, the cube of the binomial and stuff, when we get to factoring these, that will become important. But as far as the multiplying goes, the way we were just doing it a second ago works every time. So you don't really necessarily have to memorize these formulas, but if you would like to, if it would help you, then do so. So for part A, it wants us to multiply 2x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. Now if I just use the special formula, I know that's going to be 4x squared minus 9. But if I do this using my grid, I can show you that I'll get the same thing. So I get 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3, so there's my 4x squared. I've got a 6x, a negative 6x, and a negative 9. Excuse me. So these 6x's cancel out, which is why it leaves me with the 4x squared minus 9. Alright, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to just make a quick comment on a couple of these. I want you to do them for homework, okay, and bring them back in so that we can talk about them, and you'll get a pop-up bubble here in a second. I want to jump down to F because it's got two variables in it. So we are doing 5x plus 7y quantity cubed. Now you have to remember, when it's quantity cubed, quantity squared, that means whatever's inside those parentheses times itself, whatever the exponent is, number of times. In this case, we're going to multiply 5x plus 7y times 5x plus 7y plus times 5x plus 7y. Now I can use the formula up there for a cube of binomials, so I could use the sum. Okay, I'm going to do this the long way for those of you that would prefer it that way. So I'm going to start with my 2 by 2. 5x plus 7y and 5x plus 7y. So that's going to give me 25x squared, 35x times y, 35x times y, and then 49y squared. So now what I get from that, I'm going to multiply by 5x plus 7y again. So that's going to give me 25x squared plus 70xy plus 49y squared. So I'm going to multiply that. That's a 3. And I'm going to multiply that by the 5x plus 7y again. All right, so we've got 25 times 5, which is 125. Let's change colors here. 125x cubed. 70 times 5 should give me 350. Whoops, not 35y. Try again, 350. Now I've got x times x, so that's going to become x squared, and then the y. Okay, 49 times 5 is 245. And I've got an x and a y squared. Okay, now I've got 25 times 7, which is 175 x squared y. 70 times 7 should give me 490. X, and then I've got y and y, so it's going to give me y squared. And then 49 times 7 is 343 y cubed. So now when I combine like terms, I'm going to have 125x cubed. 175 plus 350 is going to give me 525 x squared y. 490 plus 245 is 735 xy squared plus 343 y cubed. Done. So the other ones in between, I want you to do yourself.